Welcome back to another episode of the Juh Kickin It Podcast.
What up, y'all?
D-Lo and
Matt, you know the drill.
So today's guest, someone I know personally, man. He coached me for a year at Berry College. Mason Kinsey, receiver for the Tennessee Titans, receiver and punt returner. Welcome to the show, man.
Yes, sir. Welcome, man.
Appreciate it, fellas. I'm excited, man. Pretty dope what y'all are doing, man. This is dope.
Yeah, man. So first we get into how you think the season went for you personally, and then as far as like team wise.
Yeah. So I mean, early on, I played mostly punt returner the entire year. Got some snaps here and there at receiver. Feel like I'm starting to kind of find my niche at punt returner. There for a while, I didn't know like if it was gonna take like me playing 40 snaps on offense, or is it going to be me being the guy back there at punt returner for me to get like some serious burn? I think I played, 8 games this year or something like that. And I played early in the year, then went back down to P squad, and then ended up playing like the last 6 games of the year. At one point I don't know anymore, but at one point I was like top 5 in punt return yards in the league. So yeah, so it was up there. I don't know where I'm at now after the end of the year, but my kind of goal was to average 10, like average a first down on every punt return. So I was really close to that. It was like 9 point something. So yeah, man, excited. And the reps are what's most important anyway, because you get back there, you get comfortable, you're not, once you do it for an extended period of time and you see that they trust you back there, it's less about, oh, don't let me mess this up, and more about like, all right, let's go make a play, So kind of calmed down and slowed down for me later on in the year, but like I said, kind of found my niche a little bit, and then just keep working on everybody wants to be the guy that plays 40 snaps on offense, you know what I mean? There's not a guy in the league that don't want to be that guy, and that's always the goal, but definitely an improvement over the last few years, man. Got the most opportunity that I've had in a long time, so
for sure, that man, that's great to hear. So we're gonna start from the beginning. So take us kind of through where you're from, your backstory, kind of from like rec ball all the way up to high school.
I know you a dog.
For sure.
I kept track. Trust me. That's what
yeah, man. I got a crazy life story, man. My mom, my mom's a super fan. She's Mason's #1 fan, as most moms are, but she's always like, oh, I'm going to write a book about your story. She wants to write a book. But, I started playing football when I was 7. First year, didn't play that much. Second year, played running back. And then I was a running back up until 9th grade. And we ran the triple option. So I was like, and like a couple of my buddies actually played running back and were like those guys. So I was like, bro, I'm never gonna get burned back here. So so I was like, I'm gonna play quarterback. I can touch the peel every play.
Exactly.
And so and I don't have to throw it. We run the triple option. I ain't got to be able to throw. You know what I'm saying? So especially at 8th, 9th grade. So actually 8th grade went out for quarterback, didn't get it. One of my coaches was like, you want to try receiver? And I'm like, like, all right, sure, whatever. And 8th grade year, they had combined all 3 middle schools in our hometown. So there's one high school in our hometown, the whole county, and then there's 3 middle schools. But it was North Hab and South Hab. Then they built a new middle school called Wilbanks Middle School. So everybody obviously knew middle school. All the kids want to go to the new school, make a little super team, whatnot. They ended up combining for the first time all 3 middle schools into one football team. So we were Habersham Central 8th grade football team. So I get out there. I'm way smaller than everybody, like getting no playing time. I'm talking about none. I'm playing like 2 or 3 snaps a game. And it's in the 4th quarter, like whatever. Well, in 7th grade, in 7th grade, because football is really I played a little t-ball here and there or whatever, but like football is really the only thing I ever played. And my buddies in 7th grade were like, hey, try out for the basketball team. And I was always used to being like one of the most athletic guys in the school, but I ain't never played basketball before. So I'm like, I'm gonna make the basketball team, like whatever. So we go through the tryouts, bro. List is on the door. Last day, the coach ain't even got, like, he ain't even bringing people in. You know what I'm saying? He's got a list on the door. Yeah. He's got a list on the door, like, hey, you come look at the list, see who made the team. So I'm like, all right. I go up to the list. My name ain't on that bitch. I'm like, hey, bro, it's all good.
What's going on?
Hey, bro, ain't no way, bro. They done made a whole new middle school first off, so half the kids done left. Yeah. And I still didn't make the team. Like, like, what?
Something going on. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, what, bro? And that's the first time in my life, bro, that I really like didn't make something like athletically. I was distraught, bro. My feelings was so hurt, bro. I'm moping over back to the car, like feeling sorry for myself. Yeah. My mom's sitting outside. I'm like, all right. So I tell my mom, I'm like, I'm about to lock in on basketball. So I get with a trainer. I'm training like 3 or 4 days.
Oh, you was like, basketball.
Oh yeah, no, I was like, no, I'm not going for this. So this is like my villain origin story right here, bro.
Batman, bro.
Yeah. So I'm like, all right, I'm about to get right in basketball, like whatever. So play basketball or train for basketball, whatever. 8th grade football, don't play at all. So 8th grade basketball tryouts come up, and I'm a whole different, like, different. I didn't got in my bag.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about golf before we started this thing. It's like I became obsessed with it. Like I was like, that's not gonna happen again. So make the team, 8th grade basketball, like lead the county in scoring or something, like completely turn the whole thing around. So I tell my dad, and my dad coached me in rec ball growing up, and him and my uncle. And I go up to him, I'm like, hey man, I think I'm done with football. Like, I'm done. Damn. And he was like, no, you're not. So my dad's like big swole. I don't know if you remember my dad, but my dad.
I remember your pops. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, man. Big swole. My dad's 51 now, 50 or 51, and is 205 pounds, arms about this big around, 6-pack. Like still working out every day, bench pressing 315 on the bench. Like nobody to be messed with. So he's like, no, you're not. So there's only one other guy from our hometown that made it to the league. His name's Tavares King. He played at Georgia. He was right in the AJ Green, Muhammad Massaquoi, Malcolm Bennett, Aaron Murray, those guys. Yeah. So, and he's like the 3rd or 4th all-time leading receiver at Georgia. He was Gatorade State Player of the Year in Georgia, whole nine. So he was coming back. He was in the league at the time, and he was coming back to Georgia in the offseason. And I was already like, I'm gonna quit. My dad was like, no, you're not. So my mom hit him up and was like, hey, Mason is thinking about quitting football. Like, do you want to like help him train or whatever? So he's like, and he like just started playing receiver. Like, if you're going to be out at the field, Mason, I'll bring him out there. And so he was like, yeah, come on. And so basically Tavares took me under his wing and taught me all the stuff that I taught y'all at practice. All the drills that I did with y'all is the same exact thing he taught me. And I started from square one. You know what I mean? And it's the stuff that I just kept working on and ran with from there on out. And then ended up playing receiver, doing whatever. But in high school, man, played receiver. My freshman and sophomore year, we played in, like, supposedly, the 2nd hardest region in the country. Yeah. And we got our ass kicked every week. I'm talking about 6. It wasn't no like 28 to 25. It was 60-3 every week. Every week, beat downs. God. Yeah, so we had like Norcross, North Gwinnett, Mill Creek, Ridge. Yeah, you're cooked. Yeah, bro. Who else? Mill Creek. Like I'm playing Alvin Kamara, Lorenzo Carter, Lando Brown Jr. Like all these guys. Like
I didn't know y'all was in that region. That's crazy.
Yeah, my freshman and sophomore year. So Norcross and North Gwinnett. Because at that time when I was in high school, 6A was the highest classification. So we were in 6A, and we're having to travel an hour plus to Gwinnett to play every game. We're the only team outside of the city that they're playing. They're having to come into – there's a cow pasture across the street from our high school. Like, where are we at, you know? Yeah. And knowing they're going to beat us 60-0. And – bro, we had Norcross and North Gwinnett go on opposite sides of the state bracket and meet back up in the state championship 2 years in a row. So we had the state champ and the state runner-up in our region 2 years in a row. It's like,
you can't do
and
nothing about that.
yeah, bro. So
Yeah.
we were getting smoked. So in high school, I won 3 games in 4 years, bro. 1-9, 0-10, 1-9, 1-9.
Imagine.
Were my records in high school. Yeah, getting killed. And then, but I went to a camp at Mercer
Yeah.
going into my senior year and killed it at the camp, whatever. They're like, hey, we want to offer you. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I basically had the offer like a majority of my senior year. They called me with like 2 weeks left. And at that time, I wanted to go into sports broadcasting, and they had like a internship with ESPN. And like you get an internship with ESPN after you graduate, if you graduate from the sports comm department. I'm like, man, this is right up my alley.
Yeah.
So they called me with like 2 weeks left, and the guy's like, hey, we got a kid, a JUCO transfer that wants to transfer in.
Damn.
If he gets into the school, then we're gonna pull your offer, give you a preferred walk-on. But if he don't, then your offer still stands. So he calls me like 3 or 4 weeks later, and I was already basically committed. And he's like, hey man, he got into the school, like we're gonna have to pull it, give you a preferred walk-on. So I'm like, all right. And so basically, bro, how I ended up at Barry was my next door neighbor. We were really good. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
My next door neighbor we were really good family friends with him, still good family friends with him. But their daughter played softball at Barry. She was, I think, 3 years older than me, or she was a senior when I was a freshman. So we always heard about like Barry is a beautiful place, beautiful campus, such a nice school, such a this, such a that. And me being 17 years old and at one time was committed D1, thinking I'm the man walking around, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, I'm not going to a D3 school. Like, I'm not doing that. Like, if a D3 school was like emailing me, this is actually crazy. I went back and looked at my email the other day, and I was looking out at my sent emails. I was bored. I don't even know what I was looking for in there, but I looked through my sent emails, bro. I sent 206 emails to schools with my highlight, my info, everything. Didn't get one email back. Not one. Didn't get one. Yeah. And it's even like I'm not sending them to Georgia, Clemson, like stuff like that. I'm sending them to like Charleston Southern, Miami of Ohio, Georgia Southern, all these places. Nobody hit me back. So I'm like, all right. So Coach K invited me to come up for a visit.
Yeah.
And it was more of like my mom kind of was like, you're gonna go. So I was like, all right, I'll go. So went, saw the campus, whatever. Ended up getting the Gate of Opportunity scholarship there. So I basically went to school for free. Ended up paying, I think, $200 a semester or something to go there for free. And then after my sophomore year, bro, I was gonna leave. Was seriously considering leaving. Because that's like right when the transfer portal opened up, but the rules were different. You had to sit a semester non-scholarship. So I basically had like Georgia Southern, Mercer came back, Coastal Carolina, stuff like that. They were like, hey, if you come here and you sit a semester, we'll put you on scholarship. But my brother was coming out of high school. So this was during Coach Duncan's time. I kind of had to sit down and talk with Coach Duncan and talked a little bit about it with Coach K. And I was like, I'm kind of like what I was thinking. And I was like, the way that I'll stay is if Garrett gets the same scholarship that I'm on. And so if you can have any type of say-so or pull in that, then I'll stay. Because, I mean, that basically puts me and my brother in college debt-free. You know what I mean? So, and I told him, like, hey, don't recruit him because he's my brother. Like, recruit him as Garrett. And it was crazy enough because I actually got sent home from Barry one week because I had mono and they told me to go home for the week, and Garrett went on a visit to Sewanee and I went with him.
Bro, Sewanee, oh my God, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Sewanee is probably like the worst campus.
Yeah, bro.
That shit is bad, bro.
Yeah, dude. So I went up there with him because they were recruiting him, and like I had already played against Sewanee for 2 years. So I'm just like kind of walking around, like kind of hiding in the back, not really saying nothing. But and I told Garrett too, I was like, I don't want you to feel forced to like come to Barry because you think it's going to be easier on me or mom or dad or whoever to like come to the games, bro. If you don't want to come to Barry and you don't think that's what you want to do and you want to go somewhere else with it, and go somewhere else with it. And he ended up coming to Barry, and so I stayed, and yeah, man, did well there, and
damn.
the rest is history.
Because I was definitely gonna ask you what kept you at Barry, but you basically described it, because I was like, you started popping off your sophomore year, and then from there, All-American, all that shit. So you answered. That's what kept you at Barry, basically your brother coming. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's dope. That's dope.
Yeah, man. It was I'm glad I did though, because it all worked out. You know, I have kids like DM me from like D3 schools, or like DM me on Twitter or Instagram or stuff all the time, and they're like, "Oh, I'm thinking about transferring," or what's a piece of advice of like what I should do as a D3 kid. I'm like, hey man, I just break it down like this: like, if you're good enough, they'll find you. Like, it's not hard to find the Caleb Williams, like Caleb Williams or the Michael Penix Jr. Like, those are Heisman Trophy winners. All three of us can sit there and be like, all right, these guys can play ball. They're probably going to be a first-round pick. Right. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a scout's job to find the guys that people don't know about that they think can contribute to a football team.
Yeah.
Like, that's their job.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you're good enough to play, then they'll find you. But the only way they're going to find you is if your stats are popping off the page.
Yeah.
Like, you have to show on film, when they turn the film on, they have to be like, why is this kid playing here? Like, he doesn't belong here. Like, you have to stand out, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the advice I try and give to those kids, because there's guys not as much in D3, but there's D2 guys, NAIA guys, and I mean, there are D3 guys, more linemen than skill position players, but there's guys from everywhere, dude. Everywhere. And guys that play a long time in the league that you're like, I don't even know where that college is at. Never heard of it.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
that's amazing. Well, I guess that leads us into the next thing. Like, how was the process of like actually going undrafted, like getting picked up by the Titans, of course?
Yeah, man. I mean, that was a crazy year, dude. That's when COVID all hit. So when the scouts started coming my senior year, like to practice and coming by to see me at the school and stuff like that, I was at a crossroads, because my junior year, I'd had a little junior day or whatever, like take a little test, do measurements, and it was at West Georgia. So Coach K and Coach Doolin went with me, and they asked, like, does anybody want to run the 40? Well, I didn't know what a junior day was. I didn't even know what to expect.
Right.
I didn't know if we were going to come in there and write our names down on a piece of paper and leave.
Yeah.
So my junior year, I was running track with Darrell and CJ and Q, and Coach K tells me that there's a junior day at West Georgia. So this whole time, I'm thinking I'm gonna have to I'm thinking like it's gonna be like a pro day.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking it's gonna be a 40. So I ended up Chip Smith in Norcross, the performance center. So it's about, with traffic, almost 2 hours away. About an hour, 50 minutes or something like that from Barry. But we were doing spring practice in the morning, and then I was doing, the work stuff for Gate and in the Cage Center. And then we'd have track practice after class and all that stuff. But I hit up Chip, and I drove down there, and I told him the situation I was in. And I was like, dude, I'm willing to come down here 2 or 3 days a week, hour and 50 minutes, like whatever it is. I'll drive down here if you can get me ready for this 40. Because in this whole time, again, I'm thinking I got to run a 40.
Yeah.
So, and I'm like, dude, I may only get one shot at this. Like, this the only opportunity. I've been asking for an opportunity. This might be the only one I get. So I was doing all that. And then after track practice, dude, driving down to Norcross and doing 40 stance and starts and doing all this stuff, working out with him. And then once he found out Chip's a great dude, man. He's a legend in the training industry, and he's trained thousands of NFL guys. Once he figured out that I was driving, an hour and 50 one way 2 or 3 times a week, he was like, hey man, if you just like sweep the floors in the weight room or do something before you leave, like I'll train you for free. So yeah, dude, showed major love. And so he ended up training me for free. When we get to the junior day, and we're at West Georgia in Carrollton, and they got some bounce back guys. Like, they had a linebacker that was from Clemson that when he came out of high school, he was the #1 linebacker in the country, 5-star, went to Clemson, and then didn't shake out there and went to West Georgia. Like, they had some guys. And we did our testing, and then they were like, "Does anybody want to run a 40?" And so all of them were like, "Nah, I'm not running." And it was very like optional, you know.
Yeah.
And I was like, "I'll run."
Fuck it.
So
Got to.
and it was like, dude, it was a monsoon outside at the West Georgia field.
Yeah.
And it's grass outside. So we were like, Carrollton was building an indoor. So they're like, "Hey, we'll drive down the street to Carrollton. You can run in the indoor." I'm like, "That's fine, whatever we got to do." So we drive down to Carrollton. They're like, "Hey, the indoor is not ready to be ran on." And so it's still raining outside. And I went, "I don't give a shit. Like, let's do it outside." So I was like, "I'll warm up and run in the rain. I don't really care." So ended up running in the rain by myself out there with like a Bucks and a Bills, maybe Scout or something.
Yeah.
And went 4.47, 4.49. And so then they were like, "Okay, well, he can run." Because like at Barry, I was more of just like running by people. So you kind of get the question of, is he that fast, or is everybody he's playing that slow? You know?
Yeah.
So that's when, you know, scouts kind of started coming by the school and stuff after that. But I told my mom, once I figured out that this, you know, might actually happen, I told my parents, because in my head, you know, probably everybody else thought I was a psycho and probably just crazy, and you know, like this is out of his reach, you know. But for me, I never had a plan B. Like I was telling my parents when I showed up as a freshman at Barry, like, and I don't mean this to be boastful at all, but I was like, I'm gonna break every record that they have here, and I'm still gonna make it to the league. Like,
sure enough, did.
And I was like, like it's got to be done.
Yeah.
And so like this is stuff that we talked about when I was in high school and you know, early, even at a D3 school, because that's just the only thing I had my mind set on. And you know, but I told my parents if the opportunity ever came, I was going to graduate. I was like, I'm not going to leave without a degree. And a little bit of it was me just like, it's almost just like blind faith, you know, just like there's no way this is not going to work out, you know. So all the scouts were coming and talking to me and doing whatever, and I was like, well, I had a semester left of school. And they were, I remember a scout telling me one time, he's like, you can always graduate from school, but you can't always go to the NFL. Because I was asking him, should I leave school early and start training for my pro day? And I was like, it's a great point. So left school early, went back to Chips to train, and I had my pro day at Kennesaw State. Well, there was a guy, I don't know if y'all know Bronson. He wrestles like WWE now, like the NXT and WWE stuff. Yeah, bro. So I'm training with him and like Jalen Hurts and a couple other offensive linemen that are in the league now. But Bronson is like one of the most athletic, like freakishly athletic people I've ever been around. Like he was 240 pounds. He did like 37 reps of the bench press, and he vertical jumped like 38, and he was running 4.4s like every time we're running 40s training. And I'm like,
freak athlete,
dude. I mean, and he was also like intense, bro, bodybuilder, like a AM and like those guys. You know what I'm saying? Like that he was. I think he may have went to school with AM, but just getting after it. So I'm training with him, whatever. He's like my partner or whatever. And so we get out to Kennesaw State, which is where he played ball at, and he runs his 40 before me. And I've been seeing his times the whole time we've been running. Well, the wind is crazy this day, and that's fine because you're supposed to run one this way and one back into the wind, one into it, one out of it, or whatever. And I see him run, and I hear the scouts like clocking. They're like 4.52, 4.53. I'm like, I'm in trouble, dude.
If he's running 4.53, what the hell am I gonna run?
You know what's crazy is because I went 4.47 and 4.49 in my junior day in the rain, and I trained for 4 months. So you would think like there's no way I got slower. Right. But the wind was so crazy that I'm like, dude, this is ridiculous. So I ran, and I was like mid 4.5s or something. And so I'm thinking, all right, I'm gonna make up for the average because I'm gonna be burning on the way back because I'm gonna have all this wind in my back. And I actually like kind of flagged down some of the scouts. I'm like, hey, are we gonna flip it? And he was like, no, just run again. So I'm like, oh man, we are in trouble. We are in trouble, dude. So So I'm like, what have I got myself into, dude?
Yeah.
So cause I like PR'd on the bench press, I
Mm-hmm.
PR'd on vertical, broad jump, 3-cone, L cone, all that.
Yeah.
Killed it, right? And except for my 40. Like my 40 like drastically dropped.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was just my luck though, because the next day the entire country shut down. So everybody else's pro days got canceled. So
Yeah.
like it's basically just a guess on what this guy runs. Nobody knows, or they're doing ones in their training facility that's going to be a little bit quicker on the trigger to
Yeah.
knock their times down because it's good for the facility,
Yeah.
the guys that they're training, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I just took a huge hit, bro, on my 40. Like
Yeah.
I got a tenth of a second slower on my 40, and I trained for 4 months, and then now no one else has to run.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like,
That's
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is-
yeah,
That
dude.
shit kind of fucked you.
Yeah. So it put me in a tough spot. Yeah, man. But I mean, I thought it was either going to be late rounds or undrafted. I never thought that I was going to be like a third, fourth rounder, nothing like that.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be 6th, 7th, or undrafted.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to name drop, but I did have a coach call me from a team, and it was in the 6th round, third day of the draft. Calls me, and I had been talking to this team for like, at first it was like, oh, the scout wants to do a Zoom call or whatever. Then it was like the scout and wide receiver coach, and then it's like the scout, the receiver coach, the offensive coordinator, head coach, and then it's like 6 people and me.
Yeah.
And it was just like bang, 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 bang. And they kept telling me like, oh man, we love everything about you, like da 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 da, like whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So the receiver coach calls me, and it's a 6th round, and he's like, today's the big day. Can't wait to get you in blank, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, well, I look on the draft board, they don't have a 7th round pick. So I'm like, oh, this is it. And at this time, I didn't really care if I was drafted or not. But at this time, dude, I had $200 in my pocket.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm broke.
Yeah. I need this shit.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You don't understand.
Yeah.
My car payment, like,
Yeah. Yeah. I
my
need
lights
this
are about
shit.
to go out. Dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. So I'm like, I'm thinking more about the signing bonus part of it than being like, oh, I got drafted. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I need the money.
I need it.
And so I'm sitting here wait. He's like, get your phone ready. Like it's almost time, and they're up in like 7 picks. So I'm like, okay. And you know, the TV's a little behind, so I'm thinking, you know, anywhere in the next like 10, 15 minutes, like I'm gonna get a call. I tell my whole family we're having a little draft party, whatever. Like my whole family, like, bro, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So then it gets to the pick before my phone ain't rang, and I'm like, dude, there's no way. And I'm like talking to my agent, whatever. Receiver coach texts me as soon as they get on the clock on the TV, which means they've been on the clock 5 minutes ago.
Right.
And he was like, man, I'm sorry. We had like a rough year on special teams. Like we had a rough year on special teams. Like we had to go for a special teams guy, like da da da. Like I wanted you to get drafted. We'll have an offer for you after the draft.
Yeah.
So, and again, me not knowing how the business of the NFL works, and being like just naive and thinking I'm this, that, and the other. I told my agent because after the draft, undrafted guys, you know, you'll have a few calls. It's like free agency. Like you say, all right, well, you got 5 teams that want to sign you. This one will sign you for 10,000. This one will sign you for 20,000. This one's 30,000. You know, 25,000 guaranteed. And the more guaranteed money is supposed to be like more insurance that you'll make the team, right? Yeah. It's like kind of how it works. So that team offered me like $25,000, which at the time, dude, I'm like, I'm rich, you know, like 25K, 25K, I'm rich, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to buy a car tomorrow.
Yeah. Literally.
Yeah. And so, but at that time, honestly, my pride was a little hurt. Like I'm like, and I felt like I kind of got screwed over. So I was like, I told my agent, and I had a few offers after the draft and whatnot, and but they offered me the most money, and the draft wasn't over yet. But all this happens while the end of the draft is coming along. They're making deals, calling guys just in case they don't get drafted or they think they won't get drafted. Da da da. And I told my agent, I was like, tell them if they want me, just trade back into the 7th round and draft me. I'm not coming. I don't know who I thought I was at the time.
Oh, he was barking.
Stand on business. Stand on business.
Dude, I don't know who I thought I was at the time.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I took $5,000, man, and signed with Tennessee.
Mhm.
But that was the best decision I ever made, bro.
Yeah.
It really was. I'm super blessed and thankful that it worked out that way.
Mhm.
Love the state, love the city of Nashville, the team,
Yeah.
all the coaches that I've had there, man. It's been awesome. And it's close to home. Like,
Yeah.
I can get in my car and drive 4.5 hours and I'm at the house. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And when I was in New England, that wasn't the case. I mean, it felt like I was thousands of miles away.
Yeah.
Up north too. Like, the whole country was shut down. You can't walk anywhere without a mask on.
Yeah.
My family's nowhere to be found. It's cold as hell outside. I'm like, dude, you know. And we started out like 1-4 or 1-5 or something like that.
Yeah.
Right after Brady had left, man. It was tough, man.
Yeah. I was gonna.
Yeah. So how was that like your actual first day as a Titan, and like wow, like you said the game day, like how was your game day routine, like just as a Titan, how was that your first like couple weeks on the team, on the actual roster? Like was it real lively?
Dude, I'll be completely honest with you, and I tell people this all the time, because now we're in the era of football outside of the NFL, but high school, college, middle school, whatever, like people don't huddle anymore. Like the only time you get in a huddle is if you run the wing tee.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like everybody's hand signals, this, that, and the other. And when I was at Barry, it was like blue go. It's like, all right.
That
like,
shit was so simple. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what
Bro,
I mean? It's like,
yeah.
I'm out, you know?
Yeah.
But dude, and because of COVID, that 2020 class, man, we didn't have any OTAs, which is 7 or 8 weeks to get in NFL shape, you know, to practice the way we practice and do the things that we do and learn the playbook. Like, we're trying to learn an NFL playbook over Zoom.
That's great.
And it's like y'all are saying these words, and the thing is that it's all the same stuff, but it's a different terminology. So it's like learning to speak a different language. You know what I mean? And you have to know that when they say this word, this means like, pop might be smash to you. You know what I mean? And you've known it as smash your whole life, but here it's pop. You know what I mean? It's like, and so, dude, that was really hard for me, bro. It was really hard. And then we came into camp and it was like, all right, man, we've been doing, you know, Zoom interviews, installing all this stuff. And it's like, we're going to restart the install, but it's like, dude, they install 25 plays and then an hour and a half later practice and you're running the 25 plays we just installed. You know what I mean? And it's like being an undrafted free agent in a room at that point, dude, it was AJ Brown, Corey Davis, Adam Humphreys, my dog, and AJ too, and CD. Those are all my guys. Khalif Raymond, who plays for the Lions now. Cameron Batson, who was there. Nick Westbrook-Akine was undrafted with me, and he's been a starter for us for 4 years. Like, deep room. You know what I mean? So like you can't just walk into practice and be like, oh man, I don't know. Like, oh man, I forgot. Like, because you're not gonna get any reps. You're only gonna get 4 or 5 reps anyway. So then guess what? You bust a play or two tomorrow, you're gonna get 2 reps tomorrow. And those 2 reps are gonna be because AJ and Corey need a blow and it's a screen pass and you go run the guy off. You know,
Go be the decoy real quick.
Exactly. Yeah. So man, that hurt me a lot. It was so fast. It all happened so fast. And honestly, I think personally, and I don't know for a fact, but I think one of the only reasons that I ended up getting a call back from them after my rookie year to sign back is because of my last 2 weeks in camp. At that point, it was too late. It was too late in those last 2 weeks for me to find a role, just the way that I was performing. And it was just so fast, man. I just couldn't get it down. But those last 2 weeks is when I started to figure it out. And when you're not battling so much in your head, dude, you can play so much faster. You know what I mean? And so that's when the last 2 weeks, everything started slowing down for me, but we didn't have preseason games. That year, we didn't have preseason. So it's like I'm having to do it every day in practice. Like, and I started kind of kicking it on the last 2 weeks, but that's probably the only reason I got a call back the next season. Is because they were like, hey man, a guy went down, or we're looking to sign somebody to come into camp, next year. Like, oh, well, the last time we saw him, he was doing all right. You know what I mean? Yeah, dude. But once you understand, I think that is just being a pro. Honestly, like you have to learn to be a pro. It's a rookie thing. You have to learn how to study. You have to learn how to take care of your body. You got to learn how to read coverages. You got to learn how to do all these things. And it's like when I was at Barry and at high school, it was like I said, it was blue go, and I'm just going to run by the guy that's standing in front of me. I don't care if you're in cover 2, cover 4, man. It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter to me. I'm going deep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm expecting the ball.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but it's different, man. You got to learn how to be a pro. And that's why too, like every year when we have guys come in, like I try my best to help them. Because I know what it feels like to be lost, like, and just being like, dude, this is all too much, you know? And, I haven't ever experienced necessarily like a guy being like a deliberate, like asshole, just being like, oh, I'm not going to help you, Rook, or nah. Like, we don't have that in Tennessee's locker room, bro. Like everybody loves everybody. Everybody gets treated the same, whether you make $20 million a year or you make vet minimum. Like, and that's what's so cool about our team, dude, is that like everybody's so close. There's never like mistreatment. You know what I mean? But yeah, dude.
So so off of that, I'm gonna ask you. So since you've been in the league, who would you say is your who's been your coolest teammate? Who's been the coolest teammate?
Oh man, I got a few of them. Dude, honestly, like our receiver room this year was like really cool. Like I still talk to, and it was surreal too, dude, when I was in that locker room and in that receiver room with Julio. You know what I mean? Because I had you know what I'm saying? It's like I had Julio post. I was in 8th grade when Julio got drafted. I was an Atlanta Falcons. I was an Atlanta Falcons fan. Like I had a poster of Julio Jones in my room, and it's like, and he was like Atlanta's savior while he was there. You know what I mean? He was the guy, and then now me and him are sitting in the same receiver room together, sitting next to each other, chilling. Like, and every day after practice, he's like, "Hey, bro, we getting on the Call of Duty?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, yeah. So I'm bringing like Taryn and like all these guys from like my hometown, like everybody in these lobbies. I'm like, hey y'all, this Julio, this Taryn, Trace or whoever I'm playing with,
freaking out,
Garrett, whatever. And they're like, they don't want to freak out in front of me. They're texting me and they're like, dude,
what the fuck? What the fuck?
Dude, are we in a lobby with Julio Jones right now?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, bro. Like me and Who were playing Call of Duty every day for 4.5 months. Every day. And we would get home from practice at 5:00 and we would play Call of Duty until 9:00. We would both DoorDash food, so we didn't have to leave to go get dinner. We would DoorDash dinner every night and play till 9:00. Get off, read the script, read the notes and the install for the next morning, go to sleep, wake up, do it all over again. It was like, yeah, dude. There's some surreal moments, for sure. AJ's my guy, my brother, man, for real. AJ's my dude. But like this year's receiving core, man, like Colton Dowell, who was a rookie for us, Kyle Phillips, Nick Westbrook. Like me and Nick came in together, both undrafted free agents, and have found a way. He's carved a great role for himself, in the league and does a lot of everything. But Kyle, Nick's my guy. Chris Moore, Traylon, D Hop. Like we had a good tight group this year, dude. And we played a lot of Call of Duty together too. But if I had to narrow it down to a top 3, it would probably be AJ, Nick. I'll give you 4: AJ, Nick, Kyle Phillips, and Logan Woodside. Logan
Okay.
Woodside's another one. Yeah, he was a backup quarterback for us in Tennessee, and then he was in Atlanta this year. So that's my dog too. We've trained damn near every offseason together. So yeah,
That's
man.
amazing. Well, do you have any, like, since we were talking about like players you were like nice, like cool with, do y'all have any like crazy stories, or like, of course, that you could put on our podcast? Do you have any like crazy like locker room discussions, or like, you know how football locker rooms get, or if y'all being out in public or whatever y'all do to hang, whatever the case is, y'all do to hang out? What's the craziest like story that you can ever remember?
I wouldn't necessarily say this is like a crazy story,
Yeah.
but this was super cool. So this was like 2 or 3 seasons ago, right? So it was AJ's birthday. So AJ invited me, Logan Woodside, and Anthony Ferkser to come out to STK, like a steakhouse or whatever, or we were at Bourbon Steak to eat for his birthday. So I'm like, all right, cool. And like, dude, and I even told D, I'm like, hey bro, you're gonna have to text me and remind me about the podcast, and then an hour before text me again, because dude, I forget everything. Literally, I was on the golf course yesterday. I get a phone call. They were like, hey, you were supposed to have a meeting with your accountant, Miss Pat, today at 4. It's 4:20, and I'm standing on the tee box. I'm like,
my bad, I forgot.
With the driver in my hand, like, dude, I thought that I've totally forgot. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to reschedule. You know, like, whatever. But so we go to this dinner, and I'm not even thinking like, oh, it's AJ's birthday, so me, Logan, and Ferk are gonna split the bill. Like, I'm not even thinking like, okay, that's like gonna be, you know, like part of his birthday gift or whatever. Yeah. So I'm thinking more of like, I'm gonna try and keep my tab as low as possible, because at this time I'm like, and I am tight. Like, all my friends, they're like, dude, you're a cheap ass. Like, and I am. Like, I try and save every dollar that I. Yeah. So we go to the steakhouse, bro. I get like a chicken breast, a salad, and a water, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, the cheapest things on the menu. I'm like, if I can stay under $80, I'm cool. Like, whatever. So AJ comes out there, and he's like getting every side. He's like, I don't even like steak, but I'm gonna get the nice steak. Like, I don't even eat steak. I don't even like it for real.
Let me get that T-bone.
Yeah. So he's getting like every side, all the appetizers. Like, they got some bottles of wine or whatever. And so I'm like, all right, cool, like whatever. And still in my mind, it's not even clicking.
It's not correlated yet.
It's not even clicking. Like, this is gonna be on me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna have to pay a third of this. So we're all going like whatever. And I can't remember who said it, but they were like, hey, Marcus is about to pull up. So Marcus Mariota was a quarterback before I got there. But I'd only heard like great things about Mariota, right? So like, just how great of a dude he is, like such a nice guy, like just greatness, like all the time, just about how good of a dude he was. So he comes in there, he doesn't even sit down. He just like, hey AJ, you know, happy birthday, tells Logan Ferk, because he played with them. And I'm like, what's up, bro? I'm Mason, like whatever. And we chopped it up for 5 minutes, maybe. And he's like, all right, y'all, like, I'm gone. My old lady's outside, like, whatever, I got to go. So we're like, all right. So somebody calls for the bill, and they're like, all right, bring the bill out. So they bring the bill out. It says $3,000 something on it. So I'm like, so
you said three what?
And I'll just tell you, how out of it I was too, though. It's like, still, I'm thinking like, all right, bro. Well, like, I had the chicken, and the salad and the water. Like, y'all figure that shit out.
Y'all can handle the rest of that.
I didn't even touch the sides. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't even want to be responsible for even saying I tasted none of it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. And then I think it was Logan. He was like, all right, we'll just split this up. Like, AJ, don't worry about it. And I was like, oh
fuck.
Shit. So I'm like, oh my gosh, dude, I'm about to have to pay $1,000 for a chicken breast, a salad, and some water.
You're cooked.
You cooked. Yeah. So then the waiter had brought the thing out. So then she comes back around, like, as we're having this conversation, she was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know. Marcus paid for the bill. Y'all don't have to pay for anything."
Ooh.
Oh, my dog,
My God.
my dog, man. Yeah, dude,
Bro,
it was
you are drunk.
crazy. They were
Oh
like,
my
yeah,
God.
he covered the whole thing. But that also shows like everything that I heard about Marcus about how good of a
That's
dude he
real.
was. He showed up, talked for 5 minutes, and paid a $3,000 dinner tab for AJ's birthday, and he didn't even eat nothing. He didn't even have a glass of water. You know what I'm saying? He
Yeah.
was like, "Happy birthday, AJ." Put it on him, and then they were like, "Y'all are good." Like,
But I know you was
what?
like, thank you, God. Thank
Hey,
you.
bro, that's a $600 tip.
Yeah.
Bro,
Mhm.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Don't forget about the tip. Yeah.
yeah, dog.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Oh,
bro. That was wild though.
that's a crazy ass story. I'm not gonna lie.
Nah, facts, bro. I mean,
Cause I ain't never try to pay that much when I go to a restaurant. I ain't gonna lie.
Bro,
I don't care
dude.
how up I get in life.
Bro.
I'm not trying to pay that much. I
Dude,
don't
that's
care.
what I tell people all the time. My friends always, all the time, dude. They're like, "Oh, you got all the money. You do this. You pay for it." I'm like, bro, they just tried to charge me $7 for a bottle of water at the movies. I'm not buying
that's
No,
that.
I'm
that. Nah,
not
that's
doing
not
that.
bro.
Yeah.
Hey, give me the water cup
Yeah,
right
let me get a
now.
water cup. Yep. Let me get a
If I get thirsty, I'm gonna leave the movie and come fill it back up. I'm not paying $7 for a bottle of water. Like,
Now,
can't do it.
now you
yeah,
just
dude.
mentioned all of these receivers, right?
Uh-oh.
So I'm gonna ask you this: if you, no, I'm not gonna ask you like what's the best receiver in the league. I'm gonna ask you what's the best receiver that you've played with or been in a room with, in your opinion. It don't have to be like statistically or whatever. It's just in your opinion. You might get some hate from this.
Yeah, I mean it's AJ and D Hop.
Gotta
You know
be.
what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's AJ
yeah.
and D Hop. And not to be outdone, Julian Edelman when I was in New York or when I was in New England.
Yeah.
Now I try and tell this to people all the time. It's two different positions. Like Jules is a slot guy, AJ and D Hop obviously outside guys, but you know, just the natural talent, dude, that AJ and D Hop have is just like God given ability, bro.
Right.
Like some of the stuff that they do is so freaky. You're just like, man, what the hell just happened? Like,
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
did he just do that? Like, I wouldn't even think to try that, and he did it, and it worked. You know what I mean? It's like,
That's understandable.
yeah, those guys, man. I mean, obviously, D Hop's freaking career speaks for itself. He'll be a first ballot Hall of Famer,
Of course.
no question. Yeah, and he's a great teammate too, dude. He's chill. I lived. So D Hop, me, and I don't know if y'all know who Kevin Hogan is. Kevin Hogan was the quarterback at Stanford when Christian McCaffrey,
Number 8.
Austin Hooper, number 8, wore the
Yeah,
knee
I
brace.
remember. Yeah,
Wore the
I
knee brace.
remember.
Yeah. So I've lived with him for 2 years in Nashville.
Yeah.
So that's my guy too. But he was my roommate. We were teammates in Tennessee for a little while, and then he went to Houston and then came back to Nashville and whatnot. But so met Austin Hooper, signed with us, you know, and Hoop didn't know anybody, and he moved to Nashville. Me and Kevin were living together. Him and Kevin played together at Stanford. So Hoop was always, you know, over at our crib and stuff, hanging out with us, doing whatever. And then Hoop left, went to Las Vegas this year, and had a house in Nashville. Well, he leased it out to D Hop. So me and Kevin were in an apartment, and our lease was ending in November, but I knew I wanted to come back to Georgia for the off season, and I didn't want to double up on rent. So I'm like, dude, I don't want to sign another lease in Nashville, but I have to have somewhere to stay the last like 2.5 months of the season. You know what I mean?
Right.
And we're like talking about it in the receiver room and whatnot. And D Hop was like, "Hey, bro, I actually leased the house from Hoop, and I did it really just for like my family and stuff to like come for the games on the weekends and stuff like that. Like that's not where I live at." And he was like, "If you and Kevin want to move in, just like pay me what y'all pay at y'all's apartment right now, which was less than what the mortgage of the house was per month by like $1,000." And he was like, "Y'all can move in, ain't got to sign a lease, like whatever. It's fully furnished too. Like y'all just like pull up, y'all can live in there." So Diop let me live in one of his houses the last 2.5 months of the year. So
real people, bro.
Yeah, man, real. I got a story about AJ too, man. AJ, so were you at Barry with Tyler Madison, who worked in the cage? Real tall Tyler, skinny, real tall. He might have
Did he?
graduated
Did
before you left.
he
Before
play
you got there.
football?
No. He didn't play football. He
I don't
didn't play.
think so.
Well, he went there to play basketball, but then he like couldn't play
Wait,
anymore.
did he have like a? He had a long neck.
Yeah.
He went to Carter. He went to Cartersville. He was in the same region me and Matt was in high school. Yeah.
No. He's
That's
from
not him?
Philly. He's from Philly.
Ah, shit. I don't know who we talking
Do you remember Kinsey, the tall girl basketball player named Kinsey?
about. I think I remember her. Yeah.
Okay, well they're married now.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Tyler hit me up and asked me for his wedding gift. He's a huge Philly fan. So he was my roommate at Barry for a year. And that was when the Eagles won the Super Bowl with Nick Foles, the Philly special.
Yeah.
So, dude, he left school for a whole week to go to the Philly parade. Like, Sixers, he loves the Sixers, the Phillies, the Eagles, like the whole nine. Super fan. Like, and so he was like, dude, is there any way for our wedding gift you could get me tickets to the Philly Cowboys game on Thursday Night Football in Philly? So I'm like, yeah, I think I can do that. So I call AJ and I'm like, hey, bro, I need 2 tickets to y'all's game against the Cowboys in like a month on Thursday night. And I'll pay you for them. Just let me know how much they are, because even if I pay for them, I got Tyler his wedding gift. You know what I'm saying? So like, all right, cool. So, and like I said, dude, I forget everything. So a month goes by, right?
Yeah.
And I hadn't talked to AJ. I mean, we had probably exchanged texts or something, but nothing to do with that, right? For a month.
Yeah.
I completely forgot about it.
Yeah.
And we're in the middle of the season too.
Yeah.
I'm locked into whatever we got going on. And AJ calls me on Thursday and was like, or I'm sorry, they played on Thursday. Calls me on Tuesday and says, hey, bro, I got these 2 tickets for the game on Thursday. Where do you want me to send them?
Yeah.
Like, he remembered a month
You
later.
did it. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And he got the tickets, and I was like, yeah, just send them to my phone. Like, let me know how much they are. He was like, nah, brother, on me. Don't worry about it. I got it.
Yeah.
Took care of it.
Damn. Real one.
Yeah, bro.
Another
Just
real
like,
one.
Yeah, man. Another one.
Yeah.
Another one, dude. Just, I have been blessed, bro, to be around, like, good-ass dudes, man. Some, like, really good teammates, like, just great people, for real.
Yeah.
Amazing.
No question.
So, I was going through your Instagram. I was looking at the pictures, and I can't remember if it was this year or last year. Y'all had a game in LA. I was like, damn, that stadium looks dope as hell. So I gotta ask you, what's the coolest stadium? So as far as looks and fans, what's the coolest stadium you played in so far?
Coolest stadium so far is up there. It's definitely up there. Yeah, I'll probably say SoFi. Probably SoFi. Atlanta has a really cool stadium too now, man. That Benz is dope.
I'm telling people. I be trying to tell people.
Too bad
the Benz is dope.
It sucks.
The Benz is cool. But as far as like rowdiness, dude, we played the Bills on Monday Night Football.
Bills Mafia.
Oh my goodness.
Dude, shit.
It's deafening. It's deafening in there.
Yeah.
There, Kansas City on a primetime game.
Yeah.
Deafening. I mean, you can't even talk to the person next to you. They're so loud.
What'd you say,
I mean, like you got to scream. Like you got to scream in the dude's ear that's standing right next to you.
Yeah.
And like, I think 2 years ago we were playing. It was 2 years ago we played the Bills, and they had jumped up on us early, and it was like they had like a 2 or 3 score lead, dude, and it was like we were up on them 3 points, and they were in the final drive of the game to win it. Like that's how loud they were, up 2 or 3 scores.
Yeah.
Like, and I'll tell you another one, dude. I'll give you 2 more. I went to Pittsburgh 2 years ago or 3 years ago, maybe. Yeah, it was 3 years ago because Julio was there. Man, they play that old school. It ain't the Renegade, the TikTok song. It's the old school Renegade song, at the beginning of the fourth quarter and they start waving them towels up in the air, man, and everybody starts jumping.
Get wicked.
Dude, you can feel it shake.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. And Cleveland this year, man, got freaking.
I heard about Dog Pound, right?
The
Cleveland.
Dog Pound, man. They showed up because everybody says like, oh, Cleveland's fans suck. It's like, dude, they were sold out and jumping the whole entire game. Like, so, but I would say my top two is probably the Bills and the Chiefs.
Wow.
I mean, obviously the Bills speaks for itself because they're freaking jumping through tables before the games even start.
But that shit looks. That shit kind of look fun. I kind of would want to do that if I went to a game. I ain't gonna lie.
I can only imagine how their game in their most recent
the Chiefs.
The Chiefs played the Bills. I wonder how that was like.
Dude,
say if you were on the Chiefs or the Bills right now, like how you think that energy in the stadium would have been? If you were
there? I mean, crazy. There is a such thing. Actually, George Kittle said it the other day in an interview talking about like analytics. People say momentum isn't a real thing. That's a lie. That's a lie. I don't care what nobody says. You can be the analytics guy behind the desk saying whatever you want to say, but until you're on a field and you can feel that momentum start to change, you can't have an opinion on it, bro. Like, because it is a thing for sure.
Oh yeah. Well, let's put you in the shoes of a. Let's take you out of the shoes of a player and put you in the shoes of a fan, real quick, right? The Super Bowl is coming up. All right. I don't know if you have any opinions or bets or whatever. That's your business.
No bets. We can't bet. We can't bet on football.
No. But who do you think will win the Super Bowl? If you were a fan right now.
I can't go against. I can't go against Patrick Mahomes, man.
No.
Like I think that the 49ers have a better all-around team. I think that they do. Like, their defense is solid on top of. I think I read something today that they got like 3 guys with 1,000 scrimmage yards this year. It's like, dude, you got 1,000-yard rusher, 1,000-yard receiver, 1,000-yard tight end. Like,
and that's
you know what I mean? It's like,
and that's what I've been trying to like. I've been trying to go with the narrative of like, you know, the whole nation was with Lamar last week or 2 weeks ago, right?
Oh yeah.
But I feel like I was the only one. It wasn't because I was against Lamar. It was just I can't go against Pat and what his history of doing things show. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. That's man. And like he's been there before, you know. Like he's been there before. It's and I hate that people like doubt Purdy because I think Purdy is that guy. I think he's that guy for real. But it's just like, dude, I mean, it just seems like no matter what happens, Patrick Mahomes finds a way to win. Like every time I watch them play on TV, it's like they're down 10 points. It's like, bro, there's 8 minutes left. Like this game is not over. Like it could be 5 minutes left. Like, dude, I mean, one of the craziest things I ever seen in my life was this year when we played Miami. We played Miami, dude, and we came back from 14 points with like 2 minutes and 50 seconds left. And
wait, that was earlier in the season, right?
Yeah, it was at Miami too, bro. Sunday Night Football.
Yeah,
it might have been Monday night.
Oh yeah, that was your quarterback. Was that his first or second start?
I don't remember what start it was for him, but all I know is the GIF of Willie freaking like, let's go, like after the game, because like, dude, at one point, like I'm guessing it was like right before we got the ball back or something, the analytics or whatever it is had us at like a 1% chance to win the game.
Hey,
with like
momentum.
With like 2 minutes and 50 seconds left.
Yeah.
And we scored, went for 2, got it, stopped them 3 and out, got it, drove down the field, scored, field goal, done. Game over. We won. It was wild, dude.
That's insane.
Yeah, my roommate, I didn't even travel for the game. I was at the house.
Yeah.
I was at the house, and my roommate got up with like 2 minutes left. But it's over. And I was, and then scored, got to stop. I was like, Kevin, come back down here, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, it was wild, man.
Damn. Well, shit, before we get you out of here, I just want to know. Matt did ask, but I want to know what's your top 5 receivers in the league right now.
Top 5.
Yeah.
Top 5. That's tough. There's so many guys out there, dude. No order. I'm gonna go no order.
Okay.
Top 5. I'm gonna forget somebody. I know I am. I'm gonna go AJ, Tyreek Hill, AJ, Tyreek. Hey, this is tough, man. I'm trying to make sure I don't forget anyone.
It's
but
a lot on that list. You're gonna
yeah, dude. I mean, I still think you got to go Devontae Adams. I still think he's in there.
Yeah.
Stephon Diggs.
Well, worst spot?
Somebody texts his phone like, no.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I'm gonna go D Hop.
Okay.
I'm going D Hop.
Okay.
I mean, no answer is a wrong answer. I mean,
yeah. No, it's
everyone's
not.
like,
but dude, there's so much.
It's so hard now to make a top 5 because it's
because dude, every team, like, I know when I was in college and like high school, it's like, oh, you get 1,000 yards, like you're the man. It's like, dude, every single team has 1,000-yard receiver.
Bro. I've noticed that. I've definitely noticed that. Yeah.
Like there's 32 guys with 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
It's like,
and then some of them
hard,
teams
man.
got 2 receivers with 1,000 yards. Like the Eagles this year. Did Waddle have 1,000 yards with Miami? Probably close to it.
Like Ayuk is another guy. I seen a stat on him the other day. Like he was like 5th in the league, and Puka's another guy, man. Puka Nacua, man.
Puka's tough.
It's so much
tough. He's so tough. Cooper Kupp, another one.
Yeah.
Oh man, Amari Cooper had another good year.
I hear that man out of Minnesota. Jay Jettis.
Oh, Justin Jefferson. I told you I was going to forget one.
Yeah.
I told you I was going to forget one, bro. Yeah, he's definitely on there too. Yeah.
He's so tough.
Yeah. He's so tough. Like, yeah, you even think like Adam Thielen in Carolina. Like he had like 80 catches this year and like 1,200 yards.
He had a solid year. I ain't gonna lie.
You know what I mean? But nobody talks about it because of their record. But it's like Thielen had another great year.
Yeah.
Like, so there's so many good guys out there. Devontae Smith, Debo Samuel.
Debo.
You know what I mean? It's like, good Lord.
Shit, Jamar Chase.
Forgot another one.
It's a lot of
T. Higgins.
Yeah, it's a lot. I'm not gonna lie.
We don't want to hold you too long, but one more question. What are your goals or your own personal things that you want to look forward to moving on in your career right now?
Yeah, man. Kind of like I mentioned at the beginning, dude. Just trying to find a niche. I want to be a guy that's, and whether it is punt return or receiver or whatever it is, man, just trying to be a guy that's out there every Sunday. You know, I've been 4 years of up, down, just fighting. But that's been my entire life. You know, I'm used to it by now. It probably wouldn't feel the same if I wasn't fighting like that. But yeah, man, just being a guy that's out there every Sunday, whether it is punt returner, just trying to find a role and stick there, and solidify myself as a guy that can do it every single Sunday.
Understood.
So,
yeah, man. Well, we appreciate you hopping on the pod, bro. We got big expectations for you next year. Hope you ball out, do your thing, man.
And we appreciate you, man.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you fellas, man.
Hydro.